Hey everybody, it's Astro D here making astrology real simple and easy. Relationships and synastry, though, that's my specialty. So I want to thank you so much for joining me today in my latest video. Today I want to be talking about Mercury retrograde in relationships. Because I think a lot of people get real confused. And by the end of this video, I hope that you will have a clearer understanding about how to navigate through Mercury retrogrades concerning dating and relationships and all that stuff, all right? Because a lot of times, like I said, there's a lot of confusion out here. People are running back to their exes, and I just put out a meme on my Instagram at AstroDeeStars5 on Instagram that really breaks down and describes how a lot of people, what they think they need to be doing during a retrograde. So during Mercury retrograde, yes, things of come back, remembering, recollection, reconciling is really how you say it. Reconciling, remembering. All those things you need to redo, reorganize, so on and so forth. They're going to come back. So a lot of the times, old people that were in your life tend to come back. And we're going to focus today on those exes and those relationships that come back, right? Should we get back with them? When we meet someone during a retrograde, should they become the love of our lives is a question. When we break up with somebody during a retrograde, is it going to be over forever? Is it done? Is that really concrete without the planet Mercury awake, alert, present? Are we really going to seal the deal on communication and agreements during that time? Now, so a lot of times, let's talk about when the ex comes back to you. Someone that you've dated before, they come back. A lot of times they can come back in different ways. Some of them come back in the mind where we're thinking about it and reminiscing and going over, ruminating and all that stuff, thinking about the person. And then, sometimes they come back actually physically, that they'll actually walk, hey, baby, I missed you. Where you been? Or, okay, they'll come back metaphorically through someone that reminds you of them. And that ain't that one. That, to me, a lot of times when they come back as somebody that reminds you of them, that means I don't think you've learned the lesson of what they were trying to teach you before. So if they come back, as someone before and you're reminded of this situation, that usually means that this is something that you need to heal from. This was a situation that you have not gotten the most closure for. And Mercury is here trying to fix it. Maybe you done cursed them out and said some horrible shit to them, and you need to reconcile and you need to say sorry. Okay, because you haven't been sleeping at night and you don't know why. It's probably because of something that you might have said or that you know was wrong. We will do stuff all the time and be like, I don't even know why they reacted that way. I don't even know why they were acting. And you know damn well that wasn't right, what you did. All right? And it catches up to you. It catches up to you and it will come back during the Mercury retrograde, right? So when you start thinking about them, what happens when you start thinking about these exes? Some people get the trigger fingers and they think that means to call. No, it does not mean that you have to call them just because you are thinking about them a lot. Be conscious that this is the Mercury retrograde. You're thinking about what you did. You're thinking about what they did. And 9 times out of 10, you're thinking about it from a different perspective, a different state of mind, a different type of thinking. So maybe where you thought they were a jerk, or so on and so forth. Maybe now you're like, wow, they really weren't a jerk. It was really me. I was the jerk. I should call them and we should work it out and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, so then you call the person, right? And you would confess all this stuff to them. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I just been thinking, and Astro D said it was Mercury retrograde. So I needed to come and I needed to call you and so and tell you. And they're still a jerk to you. They're still the same jerk that they were. Right? And you realize, okay, this person was a jerk no matter whether I said something wrong to them, whatever, who said what to who. This is not a forgiving, nice person, period. You needed that closure because if you didn't get that closure, you would have kept consistently thinking that it was your fault or it was their fault. It's no one's fault. Y'all were just incompatible. And that is a very important thing that someone should know. Someone should have within them when they're trying to walk away from a relationship. Because a lot of times, us ruminating and thinking on somebody in the past, it messes us up in the future. So these Mercury retrograde, look at it as a blessing when you re-encounter your ex and you have a new experience with them to let you know that it shouldn't have worked out. Now, I do believe that there are some cases where, let's say, I don't know, there was a misunderstanding in the relationship, right? Bob said that he was with you that night. You know I broke up with you because I thought you slept with Bob. Oh my God, I wasn't even with him. Oh shoot. Maybe we could work this out. All this time I've been thinking you were this worst, terrible cheater. But you're not. You were actually very faithful to me. Maybe we need to reconcile. Maybe we need to come back to this and redo this relationship. Right? In that case, yeah, get back with your ex. But I mean, like I said, if it was not working out and if things were no good, then no. And just because Mercury retrograde is here, if you're feeling them, that means you're not over it and you need to get over it. Mercury's trying to help you, man. Take the help. Now, like I said, it doesn't mean call them. Because sometimes you can't call them. Sometimes you can't do that, you know, whatever circumstance it is. So that means you got to work it out within yourself. Maybe it's time to change your perspective on the situation because the previous perspective was destructive for you. You know, the mind is a powerful thing. We think horrible things. We feel horrible. We do horrible things, or we don't do anything at all. And it's just that simple. So, like I said, use this Mercury retrograde to help you in that sense. Now, let's move on to when you meet someone during a Mercury retrograde. When you meet someone, ooh. Now, I have done that quite a few times. You know, now I feel wiser. The wiser I feel I am, the crazier people think I am. Because, you know, people will come at me like, yo, baby, what's up? What's going on? I'm like, look, it's Mercury retrograde. And they're like, what the hell? Oh, who? It's a Mercury retrograde, and I don't start nothing during no Mercury retrograde with strangers. Your Mercury retrograde self. Get yourself out of here. And that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? Because I've learned now. There are exceptions to that, all right? Like there are exceptions to anything. You know, I'm not speaking any gospel right here or anything concrete, just permanent in the ground. No, everything's always ever changing and ever growing. But what I'm saying is, a lot of times we'll meet this person and things are not as clear as they should be, right? We might think that they are one way. Even now, and that could go good or bad. We might think that this person is, you know, the finest thing in the world. But then Mercury goes forward, they take out their false teeth, y'all. And you find out he ain't got no teeth. Oh, shoot. You know what I mean? He ain't as fine as I thought he was. Also, realizing how superficial you are and how looks do matter, okay? Well, I don't know. I mean, I'd like to date someone with all their teeth. But, I mean, you know, beauty's in the eyes of the beholder. Them gums might be cute to you. So anyway, you know, it's about when you meet someone, does it mean that it can't last? No, it does not mean that it cannot last. That's always been a big question that I get a lot. You know, I met somebody and I really like them and they're awesome. Is this worth anything? Yes, it is worth something. I happen to know someone that I did meet during a Mercury retrograde, and I'm not going to say their name. They don't know because they're not on it like I am. But I know I met them during a Mercury retrograde, and I wanted it to be romantic, but it didn't. The perspective change and how I viewed the person. You know, at first they were the hottest thing ever. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, you know, you're a jerk. I don't like you. And then it's like, oh, maybe you're not that bad, or maybe not. I mean, it's this constant flow and change of energy, you know, a constant change of perception, and that will label the relationship. For example, I started a band during a Mercury retrograde. That band changed so damn much and evolved so much. It was constantly changing. That was just, and I knew it. And I said to myself, that's what you get. That's what you get. You were rushing during a Mercury retrograde. Now you got this metaphorical changing band, always switching signs and all kind of stuff. Switching singers. It took us forever to find a singer. It was hell. All right. But when you're meeting somebody during this retrograde, it's not that you can't meet them and they can be a part of your life for a long period of time. But just know and keep in mind that that relationship is going to go through a lot of changes. It's not going to be what you think it is initially. But you absolutely can meet somebody during a retrograde. Now, yeah, you could also meet a frog, okay? You can meet a frog. That's a horrible situation, but they look amazing. Right? On the inside, I'm talking about internally, you know, people start to show. And also, you know, you meet someone that's romantic in the beginning. And by the end of the retrograde, you're like, oh my God, you know, his feet stink. I'm not dating him. We could be friends if he, you know, gets some Febreze, but I'm not dating this person permanently. You know what I mean? That's just not what I want. Or I met Joe. He makes a great friend. But his feet stinks. I'm not dating him. And then all of a sudden, Joe gets caught onto it. Maybe you and Joe during the Mercury retrograde have an argument about it. his feet and stuff. And you're like, Joe, I can't take this no more. And then all of a sudden, Joe starts using Febreze and starts, taking care of himself better. And all of a sudden, during that retrograde, Joe starts looking pretty good. He starts looking like, oh, okay. I like you when you clean now, Joe. So this is just an example, just a light example of how things change during Mercury retrogrades, during relationships. And now finally, the breakups. When you break up with someone during a Mercury retrograde, what is the deal? What is the cause? What is the issue with that? So breaking up with someone during a retrograde, a lot of times, sometimes it could be long time coming. You've been wanting to break up. You tried to break up already. That's actually the best condition to break up with somebody during a retrograde. But it's like, you've been trying desperately to break up with this person. Oh God, I hope I'm never in that situation where you desperately want to break up. Oh, that's terrible. But you've been trying desperately to break up with this person. And it's just not, it just didn't happen. Mercury retrograde comes, you finally get your chance again. Or you broke up with them before and now you can break up with them now. I think this is the best condition. So that's one scenario. Or another scenario is you break up with someone during a Mercury retrograde. Now, there's another side that says, when you break up with someone during a Mercury retrograde, it was not clear, it was not concrete. See, big decisions that we do during the Mercury retrograde, a lot of times they are not, it's not that they can't be concrete, but they were made based on unclarity. They were made on a shaky ground. So later on, it will have to be revisited. Those decisions will have to be revisited in a different way. So for example, you break up with your partner and it's infuriating, it's terrible, you lifted up chairs, I can't stand you, it's over, I hate you. And you say some horrible things. That was the breakup. So when Mercury retrograde is over, if you still want to stay broken up, you might have to go back and apologize and break up the correct way. Break up the right way during the breakup. Or you go back and you get back together. Because Mercury retrograde, a lot that happens is not necessarily permanent. So with that situation, those can be ups and downs. A lot of times on Mercury retrograde, you do want to break up with somebody. I recommend if it's the first time that you ever wanted to break up with this person and it's during a Mercury retrograde, I don't recommend that you do it. I think you should wait until after the retrograde is cleared and cleared its shadow, then see how you feel. See if you really want to do this and you want to make this big decision and separate from this partner, and then do it on a clear sky where it can be permanent, concrete, and it can be clear. And honestly, it's the same thing with meeting people. I personally prefer to meet people when retrogrades are over, because when you meet them, like I said, you're going to see them with different eyes. Okay, and then like I said, a lot of times you can't control all this all the time. Sometimes people just come into your life. They're the lessons that we learn. People are the lessons that we're here and supposed to learn. So you're supposed to, it might be your destiny to have that type of relationship that's off and on, constantly changing perceptions. You might have to go back to that ex, because it might be your destiny to go back to that person and deal with that situation over and over again until you get it. You might, what's that Usher song? You remind me of a love that I once knew. Yeah, that's a Mercury retrograde Usher song. You know what I'm saying? That's what he's saying. Somebody comes in the room and like, damn, you look exactly like my ex. You got the same situation as my ex. Ooh, I should probably date you. No, fool, they're your ex for a reason. Don't go back to the same situation just because it's a different person, a different shell. Are you kidding me? Okay? And you'll just keep getting the same ish over and over again. So, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you all are getting a more clearer understanding about what to do during Mercury retrograde in relationships, how to handle these things, and not just run back on impulse. And that's something I had to, I was terrible with that. I mean, I am still like, I get a feeling in the middle of the night, it's 4 in the morning, I gotta call this person, I need to talk to them, man. We need to work this out. And it's like, no, you don't. You just got the feeling. Give it a couple hours and that feeling will go away. That's called moody, all right? In your feelings, they say. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this Astro D Stars channel. And make sure you're following me on Instagram, checking out these memes. And I hope you get to check out this meme that I just did on Mercury retrograde and exes. It's at Astro DEE Stars 5 on Instagram. And thank you so much for hanging out with me right now. You take care on this retro.